when a quiet evening turns into a night of secrets, even the most unshakable man can find himself caught in a web of intrigue. Keanu Reeves, the beloved actor known for his humility and kindness, had just checked into one of his own luxury hotels. It wasn't for publicity or a grand event, just a rare moment of solitude. The hotel, a sleek, modern building nestled in the heart of the city, was one of his proudest investments. But tonight, it would become the stage for a story he never saw coming. Exhausted from a long day of meetings, Keanu slipped into the plush leather chair in the hotel's dimly lit lounge. The soft hum of the air conditioner and the distant clink of glasses from the bar lulled him into a rare state of relaxation. His eyes grew heavy, and before he knew it, he was drifting off to sleep. But then, a whisper. At first, it was faint, almost like the rustle of leaves in the wind. But as his consciousness teetered between sleep and wakefulness, the voices grew clearer. 2 employees, a man and a woman, were speaking in hushed tones just a few feet behind him. "Do you think he knows?" the woman asked, her voice trembling. "How could he?" "We've been careful," the man replied, his tone sharp but low. Keanu's eyes fluttered open, but he didn't move. Something in their voices sent a chill down his spine. This wasn't just idle gossip. There was fear, urgency, and something darker lurking beneath their words. He stayed perfectly still, his breathing shallow, as the conversation continued. "If this gets out, we're finished." "Both of us," the woman said, her voice breaking. "It won't." "Not if we stick to the plan," the man insisted. Keanu's mind raced. What were they talking about? And why did it feel like he had just stumbled into something he wasn't supposed to hear? The next morning, Keanu woke up in his suite, the events of the previous night replaying in his mind like a broken record. He tried to shake it off, telling himself it was just a misunderstanding. Maybe they were talking about something mundane, like a work schedule or a personal issue. But deep down, he knew better. There was something off about the way they had spoken, something that didn't sit right with him. He decided to take a walk around the hotel, hoping the fresh air would clear his head. As he strolled through the lobby, he noticed the same 2 employees from last night, Emma, the front desk manager, and Marcus, the head of security. They were standing by the concierge desk, their heads close together as they spoke in low voices. When they saw Keanu approaching, they quickly straightened up and forced smiles. "Good morning, Mr. Reeves," Emma said, her voice a little too bright. "Morning," Keanu replied, studying their faces. "Everything okay?" "Of course," Marcus said quickly. "Just going over some security protocols." Keanu nodded, but he didn't miss the way Emma's hands trembled as she shuffled some papers. He also didn't miss the way Marcus's eyes darted around the room, as if he was checking to see if anyone was watching. As the day went on, Keanu found himself paying closer attention to the hotel staff. He noticed small things, a nervous glance here, a whispered conversation there. It was as if the entire hotel was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. That evening, Keanu decided to do a little digging. He called up the hotel's general manager, a man named Daniel who had been with the company for years. "Daniel, I need to ask you something," Keanu said, his tone serious. "Of course, Mr. Reeves. What's on your mind? Is everything running smoothly here? No issues I should know about?" There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Everything's fine. Why do you ask?" Keanu hesitated. He didn't want to accuse anyone without proof, but he couldn't ignore the feeling that something was wrong. "Just checking in. Let me know if anything comes up." "Will do," Daniel said, but there was something in his voice that made Keanu's unease grow. The next few days were a blur. Keanu tried to focus on his work, but the mystery of the whispering employees gnawed at him. He started spending more time in the hotel, observing the staff and listening for any clues. One night, as he sat in the lounge again, he overheard another conversation, this time between Emma and Daniel. "We can't keep this up," Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. "People are starting to notice." "We don't have a choice," Daniel replied, his tone grim. "If we stop now, it'll all come crashing down." Keanu's heart raced. What were they involved in? Fraud? Theft? Something worse? He knew he had to find out, but he also knew he couldn't do it alone. The next morning, he called an old friend, a private investigator named Jack, who had helped him out of a few tight spots in the past. "Jack, I need your help," Keanu said as soon as Jack picked up the phone. "What's going on?" Jack asked, immediately sensing the urgency in Keanu's voice. Keanu explained everything, the whispers, the nervous staff, the cryptic conversations. Jack listened carefully, then said, "Sounds like you've got yourself a situation. I'll be there tomorrow." When Jack arrived, they got to work. Using his connections and expertise, Jack began digging into the hotel's operations. It didn't take long for them to uncover the truth. The hotel was being used as a front for a money-laundering scheme, and several employees, including Emma and Marcus, were involved. But the real shock came when they discovered that Daniel, the general manager, was the mastermind behind it all. Confronting Daniel was one of the hardest things Keanu had ever done. The man had been a trusted employee for years, and Keanu had never suspected him of anything like this. "Why, Daniel?" Keanu asked, his voice heavy with disappointment. Daniel didn't even try to deny it. "I was in over my head," he admitted, his shoulders slumping. "I made some bad investments, and when the debt started piling up, I thought this was the only way out." Keanu shook his head. "There's always another way. You should have come to me." "I was ashamed," Daniel said, his voice breaking. "I didn't want to let you down." In the end, Keanu made the difficult decision to turn Daniel and the others over to the authorities. It was a painful process, but he knew it was the right thing to do. As for the hotel, Keanu took steps to ensure something like this would never happen again. He implemented new security measures, brought in a new management team, and made it clear that honesty and integrity were non-negotiable. The ordeal left Keanu with a lot to think about. It was a reminder that even in the places we feel safest, darkness can lurk. But it also reinforced his belief in the power of doing the right thing, no matter how hard it might be. As he stood in the hotel lobby one last time before heading home, he felt a sense of closure. The storm had passed, and the hotel, his hotel, would weather it. And as for Keanu, he walked out the door with his head held high, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Because if there was one thing he had learned, it was that even in the darkest moments, there's always a way forward.